Behind the plate, number 19, Maddie Christensen. Playing first base, number 22, Katie Clater. At second, number 20.
Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to tonight's broadcasting for the second game of this USA South doubleheader between the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin and your Southern Virginia University Knights. It is senior day. The Knights dropped the first game by a score of 5 runs to 2. And once again, I'm Dawson Weeder, joined by my good friend Ben Kebzinski. And the first game, again, things just didn't quite go right for Southern Virginia, but hoping to turn things around in the second one.
Yeah, absolutely, Dawson. And the Knights, you know, they're coming out here pitching their senior ace, Crystal Kemp. And I think that that'll be absolutely pivotal in how the game today for the second doubleheader will shape out.
Absolutely. You know, we were talking in the first game how Ari Primack was in the circle for Southern Virginia. And I mentioned that I would not be shocked at all to see Crystal Kemp in the circle for the second game. That's exactly what's happening. Last game of the year, last home game of the year. You got to have the senior who's really, in many ways, carried the program in the circle for the past couple of years. And so we'll look to see what she can do in this one.
Yeah, the first pitch for Kemp is coming up. Trying to figure out what the umpire is saying to Crystal here.
He's talking, I believe he's saying something about
the wristband on her arm.
I believe so, maybe. Although it's been a constant for Southern Virginia this whole season. But at bat for the Fighting Squirrels is number 2, Leanna Rankin. That one just a little inside.
It's 2 balls on Rankin so far from Kemp. Kemp seems to be struggling to find her groove to start this game out.
That one drops just a little low, make it a 3-0 count.
Really at danger here, walking Rankin, and Rankin's a dangerous base runner to have on the base paths. She showed us in the first game what she's capable of doing on those base paths.
That one right down the middle from Kemp. And Rankin will walk to first. So first batter for Crystal Kemp is walked, and now number 35, Olivia Gagné, up to bat. And Gagné, she was a force to be reckoned with. I believe you used the term, Ben, Swiss Army knife for the Fighting Squirrels in the first game. And indeed, that she was.
Yeah, she was everywhere for the Fighting Squirrels in that first game. Fielding, batting, base running, you name it, she was there. And she shows her dangerous speed there on that foul ball bunt. As you saw how quick she got down that first baseline, she's really dangerous to have on the base pass. If
she absolutely is, and it makes it really hard to make any sort of play because, again, she's at that base, that first base, in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, if you're the Knights here, this is a must-have out if you want to start this game strong.
And did you want to figure out how to manage her? Another foul ball on the bunt, the backspin off the bat, just making things difficult for Gagné.
And definitely here now, she's going to be swinging away. You don't want to bunt with 2 strikes and risk that strikeout call. So you really got to be selective if you're still going to attempt that bunt if you're Gagné.
That's popped up into the outfield.
They made right in front of us here.
That's Chloe Nelson able to bring that down. So that's 1 out now, with Rankin still at first. That's Allison Crum up to bat. We mentioned Gagné and Crum really being the dynamic duo for Mary Baldwin in that first game. They were batting back-to-back just like they are in the batting lineup right now. And there was not many answers that Southern Virginia had for them.
Yeah, Southern Virginia really struggled getting them out and keeping them off the bases. So let's see if Crum can help continue that momentum that she had from that first game in the second game. So far, Gagné, obviously just got put out here, and so let's see what Crum can do. It's already a ball for her.
That one a little high from Kemp. And again, we can expect maybe an inning or two to go by before Crystal Kemp starts to narrow down her pitches, getting back into a groove. And we all know she's capable of it. You know, she's really been leaned on heavily for Southern Virginia pitching-wise over the past 2 seasons.
There we go. You can tell that she's starting to find her groove. She's still just trying to get the feels out and get those nerves out before she really settles in. And we saw that last game with Primack and McCreary both pitching.
That last pitch makes the count 2-1. Getting it to second.
Tough play there at
Rankin
second.
will get there.
The wind right now is blowing towards the batters, so it'll make it tough for any type of fly ball to make it out of the field today for the second game. The breeze does offer a nice relief to this sun beating down on everybody today, that's for sure.
That is absolutely true. It's been a nice and clear day all day long up here in the fields of Buena Vista. And it's a full count now, 3-2. You have Rankin at second.
Full count, you really want to make sure that you protect if you're Crum here. Kemp has a lot to work with.
We have foul ball lost to the Woods.
The infamous Woods here return for the second game of just taking all the balls that get fouled off over the fence.
That keeps the count at 3-2. That's popped up into the outfield. That is brought down by Ari Primack, who was in the circle for the first game.
Now batting number 5, Emily Hall.
Emily Hall's in for the Fighting Squirrels. You could really see on that last at bat, Crystal Kemp really working with her change of speed, and that definitely played a part in getting that pop fly out for Crum.
Absolutely, Emily Hall, a sophomore from Gum Spring, Virginia. We did not see her batting in the first game. That one just a little inside. Make it a 2-0 count.
See, Emily Hall for those Fighting Squirrels has a .258 batting average, so she's a strong batter for these Fighting Squirrels.
Right down the middle for Crystal Kemp.
Seems like Crystal's really finding her groove. This batter.
Making contact. Getting it to first for out number 3. So Southern Virginia starting off the second game much like they did in the first. They'll get 3 quick outs and get into the dugout. And the score stands scoreless right now, 0 runs to 0. And during the short break, I want to remind you you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing. Also, be sure to leave a congratulatory comment for the seniors for Southern Virginia today here on Senior Day. And be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. And in the first game, we saw Emily McCreary in the circle for Mary Baldwin, but this time around we'll see number 1, Molly Thompson, the sophomore from Hollywood, Maryland. We talked about how McCreary in the first game, I believe, ended with 5 strikeouts. That makes a total of 75 on the year. And so for Thompson, she comes to this game with 37 strikeouts. She has walked 25 batters, allowed 40 runs, and 6 home runs.
It's definitely a little bit more of a favorable matchup here for the Knights with Molly on the mound.
lead. We'll see if Southern Virginia can take advantage of that because, you know, we mentioned several times in the broadcast of the first game that it seemed as the game went on, the stronger Emily McCreary got in the circle. So now that you have someone new, we'll see if Primac can kick things off and send out these seniors on a high note here with the victory in the second game.
Last game, Primac started the game really strong for the Knights and really doing a good job of helping her efforts on the circle there, getting on base and then scoring that first run for the Knights. Let's see if she can carry that into the first inning of this game.
First pitch from Thompson is right down the middle.
Thompson wasted no time going right after Primac there.
Nice contact from Primac. That was fielded by Rankin out at first. Again, this infield play for the Fighting Squirrels continues to impress.
That shortstop third baseman combo over there with Gagne and Rankin is really tough to let anything through the infield over there. It is as strong as it can get.
It absolutely is. Now we'll have DeKel Jones up to bat for the Knights.
In the last game, she really put together a couple strong at-bats against McCreary. You definitely want to see that type of caliber of play from her again here against Thompson on the mound.
And that is back-to-back batters where Thompson has pitched a first pitch strike. Making contact, that'll be a foul ball. Make it a 0-2 count.
You can tell Thompson's not afraid to just go right after these Knights bats.
That one goes into the dirt, make it a 1-2 count.
Feel bad for any worms that were down there.
I believe that one maybe slipped out of Thompson's hand a little bit early on that one. Solid contact for DeKel Jones. Be a foul ball. Skips just over some spectators over there on that hill.
We've definitely seen a couple of really hard foul balls from Jones so far today. And you can definitely see the danger that she is as a bat for these visiting pitchers.
And it just shows she's just a little ahead of the pitch, so if she can just reel back just a tad. That time reaching.
Another quality at bat here from Jones.
Very similar to the first at-bat she had against McCreary in the first game, where she had several foul balls, really made McCreary earn the strikeout.
Absolutely. Another thing, too, is if you're the Knights and, you know, if she does unfortunately get out on this at-bat, it's another quality at-bat to really affect some of the psyche of that pitcher. You could see it kind of wear on McCreary in those first couple innings, and then she really found her groove in the previous game.
That one just a little high there from Thompson, make it a 2-2 count.
And you can see from some of Thompson's pitch selections so far in this at bat against Jones that she's really sure of the dangerous batter that Jones is and what she can bring to the plate.
Solid contact there from Jones, goes into left field, brought down by Allison Crum for out number 2. Once again, a hard-fought at-bat with DeKel Jones not able to get the better of the situation. Making decent contact, but again, hit right towards Crum in the outfield. Now with J.C. Shumway up to bat.
Absolutely. That at-bat by Jones is definitely nothing to shy away from. That's a very good quality at-bat. See if Shumway can take the same mentality that Jones had to Thompson here.
That one's just a little high to the left side for Thompson. Make it a 1-0 count.
Thompson has some good velo on those pitches so far this first inning.
Solid contact there from Shumway. It's going to hang in the air in the infield, brought down by Rankin. So 3 quick outs here for the Fighting Squirrels. We move to the top of the second. First inning sure flew right by.
Yeah, you can definitely see the quality of defense again shine through for both of these teams in that first inning. I think it's going to be another tail of the tape where we see, that first mistake, or the team that makes the least amount of mistakes will come out of this second game of this doubleheader with the win.
Absolutely. First one to show any weakness will be the one to falter, it looks like. And during the short break, want to give a shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. It's one of those hot days. We mentioned the weather today where you just simply want to go inside, get a nice cold drink. And you know where you can do that? Straws Drinks and Eats. Get great drinks, great treats, and great times. I mentioned before my drink of choice, Dr. Pepper, cherry, vanilla, lime, and a little bit of almond cream as well. Never fails to satisfy. And I believe yours, Ben, you're talking about a Mountain Dew combination that I personally hadn't heard of or tried, but it sounds delicious.
It's amazing. It's the tropics, so you got that Mountain Dew with the citrus flavor in it from the different flavors that they pack into that. So love our straws here in BV. And speaking of straws and soda, give a quick shout out to Emily Oldham. She loves Dr. Pepper. Absolutely loves it.
We learned that a little bit during the break between the first two games. In fact, some of the media day pictures they had taken with her, she had a can of Dr. Pepper in her hand with it. Definitely trying for one of those NIL deals, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So if you're listening, Dr. Pepper, Emily Oldham is that athlete for you.
Absolutely, and now we'll have number 11, Hadley May, up to bat.
Yeah, that first pitch.
Squirrels.
First pitch by Kemp there, just in the dirt. Seems like that ball slipped out of her hand too.
That makes it a 1-0 count. Hadley May, the catcher, is a sophomore from Stewart's Draft, Virginia.
Real staple behind the dish so far for the Fighting Squirrels these last two games. As we were saying before, it's really hard to find those catchers that can consistently catch and stay for your program for all 4 years and stay healthy.
Shumway, in spite of dropping the ball at first, still able to get it to first base to get Hadley May out for a quick first out. Now we'll have Trinity Thomas up to bat. She had a lot of success in the first game getting on base. She wasn't able to score any runs, but she was able to get on base, get her team into a rhythm offensively, and then teammates after her were able to really get the job done.
Yeah, and Thomas really makes up for that lack of pop with the bat, with the speed on the base pass.
And it would have been a foul ball had it not been for Shumway right there and ready. A quick second out.
Shumway really taking that hot corner this inning, making both of those plays there for the Knights.
Now up to bat is number 1, Molly Thompson, sophomore from Hollywood, Maryland. Again, she's the one pitching for Mary Baldwin in this second game. Solid contact into the outfield. Chloe Nelson right there to bring it down. Nearly had a Hollywood-level play if it weren't for Nelson being Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, Nelson made that play on the warning track there, really having to make sure that you were making sure you were self-preserving there against that fence.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably the best contact we've seen on the ball so far today. It's by the fact that Mary Baldwin had 5 runs in the first game. It wasn't necessarily because they had any phenomenal hits or anything like that. It was just a lot of decent hits in a row, good base running. But maybe we'll see a little bit more of that in this second game as the score remains scoreless, 0 runs to 0 going into the bottom of the second. And we will see number 16, Crystal Kemp, up to bat. She struggled in the first game. In the third at-bat she made solid contact but was caught out in the outfield. So she's able to sort of redeem herself here on senior day. She is in the circle, so able to make a lot of plays defensively. But absolutely she's one to make some plays at-bat for her team to go out on a high note.
Yeah, definitely. She definitely has that in her mind. She wants to really help her cause out on the circle today. Or should I say in the circle today.
And so we'll see if Crystal Kemp can do just that with Addison Webster on deck. And Chloe Persinger in the hole. Persinger was put in as a pinch hitter late in the first game, but she's actually in the lineup to start this second one.
Also have to give a shout out to Crystal's walk-up music. That Johnny Cash song is it's an absolute classic.
Gotta love the classics. You know, you always hear a lot of these more poppy, fun songs, but once in a while you hear those songs just take you back and you just feel the intensity from it. I mean, it matches Crystal Kemp's batting style so well.
Yeah, I think it matches her playing style overall, where she's not afraid to just get down and just put her shoulder down and work hard.
Absolutely.
She's definitely worked hard for this program in her time here, and it translates to her stats and her career line.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about before the first game when they're honoring the seniors how last year she was really relied upon a lot of the time in the circle. This year they had a couple of players that are able to give her a little bit of relief, able to back her up a little bit. But regardless of the fact, she's still one of the main people they look to for a spark in any given game.
Yeah, and that's exactly the type of players that you want to build your program around, and really, you know, like you said, last year they only had a few wins, and you know, for her to stick around and make sure that she helps establish that change of culture within a program, you know, that says a lot of her character.
Count right now stands at 3-1. Solid contact for
Solid
Kemp.
contact.
That, I believe, is gone.
That is a home run for your senior on senior day, Crystal Kemp.
I mean, we said it, you know, she wanted to go out on a high note. She wanted to do something productive offensively for her team on senior day, and you can't get more productive than a home run, really.
Absolutely, and that one's got to be special for her, because not only is she pitching and she's in the circle for her senior day, but like I said, it's her senior day, so that's a way to really turn those struggles around from that first game that we had earlier today.
Absolutely. Addie Webster now needing to follow up that act. 0 outs, and the Knights taking an early 1-run lead. As that was hit right over center field, right over the fence, and near some spectators here who were very excited to have a chance to catch that home run.
You can definitely tell that she will be keeping that ball.
Oh, absolutely. Webster getting a little bit of a hold of that one. Foul ball. Just hits the roof of Murray Baldwin's dugout.
Hope no one was taking a nap in there, because that one was loud. That's for sure.
Indeed that was. That makes it a 0-1 count for Webster.
Yeah, that ball for Crystal, though, that wasted no time getting out of the field here.
It was a line drive home run, honestly. Webster getting a little bit of contact there once again. Foul ball. And you know, for Thompson, pitching right now, if you pitch to someone who hits a home run, it's one of those things where in any sport, you need to have good short-term memory when it comes to things going wrong for you.
Absolutely.
Whether it be in basketball when someone hits a 3 over top of you, or in softball or baseball when someone hits a home run on you, you got to put that out of your mind, get back to work. We'll see she's able to do just that, as that pitch is a little high, making it a 1-2 count.
We'll definitely see how that home run impacted her psyche as this inning kind of develops. You can see that she's kind of shying away from that strike zone over the plate a little bit. You know, no one likes giving up those home runs, but the big play, you can tell that she's really shaken and rattled from that. Now the ball, it's 3. Let's see, looks like the count's 2-2 right now.
Contact there. That's Rankin right there. Once again, making the play at first.
Yeah, tough play there, making the fielding that ball off that bounce. But Rankin has shown so far today that she is just a force to be reckoned with over there at shortstop. She is just a staple for that Fighting Squirrels defense.
Indeed, it's like she's a wall, how nothing's going to get past that wall. And now we'll have number 21, Chloe Persinger, up to bat. I'm liking how in the second game, how Southern Virginia is less inclined to just sit and wait. They're kind of swinging.
Sorry there, folks. We had a slight technical difficulty.
We are back online, though, as there's one out with Katie Clater up to bat. We weren't able to present Chloe Persinger getting a solid hit into the outfield, getting to first base. Clater now has a 1-2 count.
Let's see if these former teammates from Perry McClory can help each other out on the base paths here.
That's going to be up in the air. That's Trinity Thomas right there to snag it. That's out number 2, as Chloe Persinger still on first. And now we'll have number 3, Chloe Nelson, up to bat.
Now batting for the Knights, number 3, Chloe Nelson.
Swing and a miss there for Nelson, trying to get Persinger at first.
Throw down.
Want to once again apologize. Some more technical difficulties here at the fields. But as of right now, it is 2 outs here for Southern Virginia with Emily Oldham up to bat, one of the seniors. It's now an 0-1 count.
Yeah, briefly in that little technical difficulty spell, we missed an error committed by the Fighting Squirrels, advancing the runners to second and third.
Ogni trying to get it to Trinity Thomas at first for the out. Instead, the Knights will score. That's Chloe Persinger, I believe, making her way back home. A little confusion there for Oldham. She was safe at first. And I think she thought she was going to have to go back to bat. But regardless, Persinger will score.
Knights now lead 2-0 over the Fighting Squirrels with Primac coming up to bat.
And Chloe Nelson is at third. So 2 outs here. Knights now have a 2-run lead over Mary Baldwin. And, you know, we were talking during the technical difficulty interference as well that Thompson's kind of been struggling so far. Struggling to maintain some form of consistency. Her pitch count's already starting to get a little high, very similar to how it was going for McCreary in the first game. But again, consistency has been hard for her to find early on in this game.
Absolutely. It's just been a nightmare inning for Thompson as this inning has gone on. And if you're her, you really want to get out of that circle with minimizing the damage as much as you possibly can at this point.
Right. If you can get out of this inning with only allowing 2 runs after the difficulties that you've experienced defensively, I mean, I feel like that's a massive W for the Fighting Squirrels, because you can easily make that up.
Absolutely. And the way that the Knights are playing right now on offense, it doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. Those were the first real defensive mistakes we've seen in these doubleheaders.
Good hit there from Primac. It gets past Rankin. Oldham going to third, and she'll make it. And Primac got a little greedy going towards second and is tagged out. So that'll be out number 3. She saw the opening. She saw it. They threw it to third to try to get Oldham out. To try to sneak her way to second. Didn't quite work. So we'll go into the top of the third with Southern Virginia leading 2-0 over the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin. And Thompson, like we said before, gets out of the circle. We're seeing a little conversation happening at Mary Baldwin's dugout. They're not liking what they saw with the bottom of the second.
Yeah, absolutely not. And if you're the coach for the Fighting Squirrels, you know, you're obviously not upset at that inning, but you really want to make sure that you really light a fire under your team and make sure that they understand that they have to step it up and bring it these next couple innings, because with the way that the Knights and the Squirrels both play defense, you know, these runs come at a premium. They are hard to come by, and so getting those 2 runs back is going to be a challenge for those Fighting Squirrels.
Absolutely, and we'll have number 12, Reagan Frazier, for Mary Baldwin up to bat to try to get things started, try to work their way back from this 2-run deficit.
We'll see if Crystal can carry that momentum from her home run into the...
Pardon me, I want to make a correction. 3-run deficit. It was 3 runs scored in the bottom of the second. Apologize for the mistake. Right down the middle from Kemp. We saw she struggled a little bit in the first 2 innings as well to try to get some consistency, but right there, taking it right back.
She's definitely feeling it now. She's really hit her groove in the batter's box, and now she's really starting to find her groove in the circle.
And the 3rd run, for those who are curious, came from Chloe Nelson, who was able to get home off that hit from Primac before she was tagged out. So you had 1 run from Crystal Kemp, which is a home run, then Chloe Persinger getting back home, and then Chloe Nelson. And that foul ball makes it a 0-1 count. Seeing some nice cloud coverage now here at the fields. That one's just a little outside for Kemp.
Great waist pitch there from Kemp. So you really want to try to force Frazier to chase one of those pitches.
The count is now 1-2. Solid contact here.
Ooh.
Primac running into the fence.
Primac
she didn't know it was there.
Primac is down for a minute.
Obviously able to get back up. Again, it's tough to judge that distance between you and the fence, especially when you're trying to make a play.
Yeah, absolutely, Dawson. And we hope that Primac is okay, as the trainer, Forrest, and Coach Pendleton go to check on her.
You can see she's kind of waving them off. We don't want to assume the state of any injury, but I'd imagine a lot of the reaction is due to the shock of simply the fence being there in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not necessarily aware of what's near you, and something comes in contact with you, as light as that hit may be, which that was a decently hard hit with the fence. Just that shock alone can be a little troubling.
Absolutely. And you could hear it through our headsets how the rattle of the fence made. So she made some pretty solid contact there. And we just hope she's okay. Good news is for folks watching at home is that she's sitting up and she's responsive.
Indeed, like you said, she is responsive right now.
And she is as tough as they come, that's for sure.
Indeed, one of the leaders in this team, even as a sophomore, you know, taking over pitching duties in many games, you know, being in the outfield, making several fantastic plays in this doubleheader alone, much less throughout the rest of the season. She's been a very invaluable player for Southern Virginia. And again, they always just want to make very certain that the player is all right before they do anything, make any actions, before they make them stand up or anything like that. There's a lot of training staffs around the country and around the world who, over the past couple years, you know, have learned better ways to handle players in these situations. And you always got to give credit to those who are on the side, waiting to help out, make sure that they can help out the players if need be.
Absolutely, and our training staff here at Southern Virginia is top notch. You have Paul and Brandon and Forrest and Chad and our interns. They're all incredible at what they do, and they really do take all the athletes under their wings and really take care of them and make sure that they give them the best treatment that they can to really help them elongate their athletic career in college.
Absolutely. I mean, Ben, you being a member of the football program here at Southern Virginia, you had your fair share of injuries, so you have plenty of experience with this athletic training staff and what they do and how they provide that assistance. And still waiting to see if Ari Primack will be getting up soon. As again, they're just trying to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And with things like this, you want to make sure that you take your time and make sure that our athletes are okay before they get up. It looks like she's getting up and she's okay.
She is walking under her own power.
Looks like she's going to stay out here in left field.
Or at least she's going to try to. I don't know if the coaches will make a decision to try to sit her for a little bit. I think that's the conversation she's having with Forrest right now in the outfield, is let him know. Maybe it's perhaps her saying, hey, I was just a little shaken up, I'm good, or again, just trying to make sure that she's actually okay.
Absolutely, and you want to always make sure that you take all the necessary precautions. Because even as an athlete, you don't want to come out even if you are hurt.
Right.
Especially with it being the last game of the season, you really don't want to.
Absolutely, it's sort of that warrior mentality where you want to sometimes fight through it, even if maybe in some cases you probably shouldn't. Coach Tiffany Pendleton standing to the side. Talking with her. Looks like she will stay out on the field. Again, the toughness of Ari Primack abounds. It's incredible how much toughness she possesses, showing it right there. After hard contact with the fence, she is staying out in left field, and play will continue.
Absolutely. This shows that the fence is no joke here at Harvey Dryden Field. That is for sure.
Now we'll get back to work with Frazier, who has a 1-2 count on her.
Ari Primack will definitely give the fence a run for its money on its toughness, though, that's for sure. As you said, 1-2 count with Kemp delivering the ball.
Just a little to the outside.
It's a great pitch for her to dish up there. on Frazier.
You know, another thing about, you know, injury situations like that is it's obviously the first and foremost, make sure that the player in question is okay. As it's popped into the air, we have foul ball into the crowd behind home plate. But another thing about it too is that it's a possibility for change momentum. You know, up to this point, the momentum had been swinging towards Southern Virginia, obviously having a 3-0 lead. But if you have a long extended pause in play, that kind of allows momentum to reset back at 0 for both sides. So we'll see if Mary Baldwin can take advantage of that, again, with 0 outs.
Absolutely, and you really, you know, you just have to be mindful and careful of that if you're the Knights and how you go about this. You know, it's a full count now here for Frazier, and that's really ideal for her from where she was starting off and where that at-bat was trending before Primac made that contact with the wall.
That one goes into the dirt, so Frazier will walk to first. Now up to bat, we'll have number 4, Jenna DiMaselli, a freshman from Manassas, Virginia. This is her first time at bat today.
Let's see what Kemp has here for her.
Right down the middle, a lot of power behind that one.
Yeah, it looks like Kemp is kind of getting back into her groove a little bit.
Trying to get a double here. Get the out at second with Akel Jones.
Shumway there with a really good play. Almost got that double play turned. Just a little too quick.
Indeed, DiMaselli was a little too fast for that one, but now number 2, Leanna Rankin up to bat. Rankin has been walked once so far in this game.
Showing sign of bunt there.
Indeed.
Stealing the base.
And out at second for out number 3. Fantastic work. I believe that's actually out number 2. Pardon me, but fantastic work there from catcher Kraylin Guyman.
Sending DiMaselli back to the dugout. Getting caught stealing. It's the worst feeling you can have as a base runner there. That's why it's so important when you're the batter to make sure you make contact. And I'm sure that was a hit and run call. And that's what happens when the hit part doesn't work on the run. You gotta always be careful if you're the batter and you're the base runner.
Kemp able to collect it, get the out at first for out number 3. That's the true out at 3. So there we go. Now we go down to the bottom of the 3rd. The Knights still hold a 3-0 lead over the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin. And we'll see if the Knights are able to build on the lead they established at the bottom of the 2nd.
Looks like Thompson's coming back out for the Fighting Squirrels, and see if she can recover after that really rough outing here in the 2nd inning.
Absolutely. You love to see pitchers, you know, after a rough inning come back out and take back momentum and just kind of show the reason why they were selected to be in the circle for that game in the first place. And during the short break, I want to give a shout out to our athletic partner Straws Drinks and Eats for the support of Southern Virginia Athletics. And if you'd like to support Southern Virginia Athletics like Straws Drinks and Eats does, be sure to reach out to Brett Schroeder at brett.schroeder@svu.edu. That is brett.schroeder@svu.edu. And support us like Straws Drinks and Eats does in more ways than one. They support us via SVU Athletics and by simply providing great drinks. Can't go wrong with that. Now to bat for Southern Virginia's number 20, Akel Jones.
And Jones put together an amazing at-bat last time she was up at the plate against Thompson. Let's see if she can carry that into this at-bat.
Indeed, she's had 2 very memorable at-bats where she neither got a hit nor got on base, but was able to make the pitcher really earn the strikeout or the out in general. So we'll see if she can actually get the better of the pitcher this time around as that first pitch is a ball.
It feels like Jones has really been a catalyst here today for both games of this doubleheader, really making all of these pitchers work so hard to get her out. That is something that goes unseen.
Beautiful pitch there from Thompson.
Counts 1-1 right now.
Making contact there right down the first base line. Out at first.
Very close play there at first. That was a call by the umpire. That's probably one of the toughest calls he's made today.
That was within at least an inch or even less.
Like a nanosecond of time there.
Absolutely. Now J.C. Shumway up to bat for Southern Virginia. Some contact there from Shumway. It'll be a foul ball.
Yeah, J.C. wasted no time, just getting right after that pitch from Thompson. Showing she's not afraid. It's one thing that Knights have shown in this game too, that they're just not afraid to just go right after the pitcher.
That one just a little high from Thompson, making it a 1-1 count. Another high pitch from Thompson. I feel like in a lot of her pitches, she's just holding onto the ball for a split second too long.
You can definitely tell just by how the ball's just getting away from her on these deliveries.
Solid contact there.
This one's got some air under it, but it just falls short out by the warning track there.
That's number 15, Allison Crum, able to bring that down.
You can definitely see the aggression from these Knights hitters. Just not afraid to just go right after Thompson.
Speaking of not being afraid at all, Crystal Kemp, her last at-bat resulted in one of the runs for Southern Virginia in a home run. So I'd imagine Thompson's going to be very cautious about putting it anywhere near the strike zone or anywhere near a hittable range for Kemp. In fact, we've had situations in the past where pitchers have intentionally walked Crystal Kemp after a home run. We'll see if they entertain that idea here. That one just a little high.
She's got 2 balls and no strikes here on Kemp. You can see Thompson and her cautiousness in her approach to Kemp here.
Another ball, make it a 3-0 count.
Thompson understandably shying away from Crystal here, especially after giving up that large out to Shumway. You got to really be careful with what you select to pitch here.
And Thompson now was really smart there, throwing 3 balls in a row and then realizing that Kemp's probably anticipating to walk, so throw it right down the middle when Kemp's not expecting to swing. Good mental game there from Thompson. That's a 4th ball, and Kemp will make her way to first.
And these Knights hitters are really working Thompson.
Now batting number 10.
You got another pitcher over in that bullpen for the Mary Baldwin. You have number 17, Morgan Hughes. So they're obviously aware of Thompson's struggles here.
May very well see that at the end of the day. And now we'll have Addie Webster up to bat for Southern Virginia. We'll have a pinch runner for Crystal Kemp.
I believe that was number 17, Madison Lloyd, who came out of the dugout for Crystal.
We've seen this on several occasions, and Lloyd is very skilled running the bases, very quick. Actually, that's number 4, Kayla Autry, who's also done that on a number of occasions for Southern Virginia.
Autry over there playing some of that mental game with Hadley May, the catcher for the Fighting Squirrels. We've seen these Knights base runners really try to test what May can do behind the plate. May is doing a great job of holding those Knights base runners where they're supposed to be.
That one right down the middle from Thompson. Now Autry, clever base running there.
Got her with a good ankle breaker there.
Indeed, well, number 12, Reagan Frazier, first base, was thinking that Autry would just be right there as soon as she caught the ball, turned the wrong way, and Autry was already more than halfway to second.
Shows how the fake out can really affect those first basemen if that throw down comes from the catcher.
That's Rankin getting it to first. Once again, Rankin doing a phenomenal job at shortstop for out number 3. So great defensive response from Mary Baldwin after giving up 3 runs in the bottom of the second. Then responding in two innings, or in 1 inning, excuse me, in the bottom of the third to not give up a single run whatsoever and really take care of business defensively. So now the score still stands 3-0 as we go into the top of the 4th. During this short break, I want to remind you once again, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, let us know how we're doing, and be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. We'll see Crystal Kemp go back into the circle for the Knights. I'd be shocked if they even entertain the idea of replacing her in the circle in this second game. I mean, she's doing pretty well so far, has yet to get a strikeout, but again, like a lot of great pitchers do, has been giving her infield a lot of opportunities to make plays and just having great battles with these batters for Mary Baldwin with number 35, Olivia Gogny, up to bat.
Also, Knights fans, just to let you guys know there's a change in the outfield and right field. Replacing Allie Primack is number 17, Madison Lloyd. So it looks like Primack's time today is over.
Indeed, for those who were just tuning in the previous inning, Ari Primack was running towards a foul ball towards that fence and ran into it, not realizing how close she was. Kemp able to get the grounder, getting it to first. And for one of the first times in today's doubleheader, Gogny unable to get on base.
Now at the plate, number 15, Allison Crum.
Now Allison Crum up to bat. It is honestly shocking to not see Gogny get on base or make a play after being at bat.
She's been on base almost every single at bat today.
Solid contact. Good work there by Addison Webster.
It's a great play on the ball there at first by Katie Clater.
And 2 quick outs for Southern Virginia now with number 5, Emily Hall, up to bat.
Emily Hall.
That was a lot slower of a pitch than we've seen from Crystal Kemp so far. It definitely took a lot of heat off of it.
Let's see what she comes back with here for Hall.
Nice inside pitch.
Kim's really showing her versatility with a lot of her pitches, mixing up speeds. Really making it hard for these hitters.
A foul ball contact there, not even on a full swing.
We've seen that a lot in these batters, these last couple hits, is that they haven't really been full swings. These batters are very hesitant with what they've swung at so far this inning.
That'd be a foul ball right there, hitting the bucket in the Knights dugout. Now senior Barrett Jessup getting out of the way just in time.
Luckily the ball was on the ground and not just hit on a line into that dugout.
That foul ball makes it a 1-2 count for Emily Hall. A little to the outside.
And that little foul ball just a second ago really shows how hot that third base corner can truly be. life really comes at you fast when you're playing first and third base.
That is very true. You need to have the motto of Ferris Bueller when you're playing that position.
Exactly. The outfield makes you feel like you're Cameron if you're in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And
never thought I'd hear the day where a Ferris Bueller's Day Off analogy is used in baseball or softball, but you know what? Here we are, and gosh dang it, it works. The count now is a full count. It's popped up into the outfield. That's Chloe Nelson coming in and grabbing it for out number 3. Great communication here from Chloe Nelson and Emily Oldham, both running towards it, both figuring out Chloe was going to go for it. So Emily Oldham running behind her just in case. You just love to see that kind of communication and teamwork there as we go to the bottom of the 4th. And up to bat first will be Chloe Persinger. She's got 1 hit so far in today's game, has scored 1 of the 3 runs for Southern Virginia. And, you know, we talk about today being senior day, and that's a day for celebration, a day for, you know, having fun, enjoying the people around you. You know where you could do that? Straws, Drinks, and Eats. You can gather there. You can get great drinks. You can have a good time. And get yourself a, I believe it's the tropical one, right? The Mountain Dew tropical one?
yeah, it's called the Tropics.
The Tropics, that's right. Get a good Tropic, or as Ben likes to call my drink, the Dr. Dawson. So you go there, ask for the Dr. Dawson. They probably won't know what you're talking about, but hopefully it gets to the point where Straws knows exactly what is meant by that at some point. But again, Straws, Drinks, and Eats, thank you so much for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. We appreciate you. Again, we'll have Persinger up to bat with Katie Clater on deck. And we'll continue to see Thompson in the circle. Her pitch count now is at 56.
Throughout these last couple innings, we've seen quite a few different pitchers get up and warm up just a little bit over in the Mary Baldwin bullpen. So, you know, if Thompson continues these struggles in the circle, I'm sure that the Squirrels wouldn't hesitate pulling her out and just saving her.
She did respond well after the second inning with no runs allowed. That time in the outfield, a good catch there from Paige Fix off the hit from Persinger. But I'd say if the Squirrels go 2 straight innings without giving up a run, I'd say they'd be more reluctant to take Thompson out, not realizing, hey, she's kind of getting in a groove now. The defense is working behind her. But like you said, if she adds on to that struggle, if Southern Virginia scores maybe a run or 2 more in this inning, we could potentially see a change up there. As we have Katie Clater up to bat. Solid contact, gets into the outfield.
Just over Rankin's head there. This Fighting Squirrels outfield is very stout. It's just a little too shallow for them to make a good play on the ball.
But able to make it to where it only ended up being a single for Clater. But now I have number 3, Chloe Nelson up to bat, the sophomore from Billings, Montana. Good bunt there from Nelson. Out at second, or out at first, excuse me, but safe at second is Clater.
Simultaneous play there again at first.
I mean, Nelson, there's been 2 times where Southern Virginia's had a base runner just barely miss it by a split second. And Emily Oldham will be up to bat.
2 outs for the Knights here. You really want to get Katie Clater in from second to push that lead out to 4.
Indeed, you absolutely do. And we'll see if Oldham can maintain Southern Virginia's at-bat status and get back to number 17, Madison Lloyd, who is taking Ari Primack's place on the batting lineup.
As we've seen so far today in both of these games with Emily Oldham batting, it's hard for these pitchers to adjust at her height when they're pitching to her.
Popped up in the infield, brought down by Trinity Thomas. So once again, 0 runs allowed by the Fighting Squirrels in back-to-back innings as we go to the top of the 5th. This second game absolutely flying by, a lot faster than the first, I'd say, just simply by the fact that both these teams, except for the bottom of the second, defense has just been playing stout.
Yeah, great pitching and great defense has been the tale of this doubleheader today.
So we'll see if Southern Virginia can continue to keep the Fighting Squirrels scoreless again. the momentum in the first game was with Southern Virginia until they started showing cracks in the foundation, until they started making mistakes. And I'm sure that is still very much permeating through their mind that that is what happened. So thinking to themselves, okay, we got the 5th and the 6th and the 7th. We have a 3-run lead. We, of course, want to expand it, but we got to take care of business defensively. And again, the fact that Crystal Kemp is in the circle, that puts you in a good situation because, again, even though she has no strikeouts so far, she has the most experience on this team in the circle. She has shown the most leadership, I believe, from all the pitchers, even though all the pitchers can really be considered a great leader on this roster. But they're definitely relying on her to get out of this second game and give these seniors a solid farewell.
Yeah, absolutely, Dawson. Yeah, Hadley May up to the plate. The catcher for the Fighting Squirrels.
She has not been able to get on base yet in this one. Solid contact there, but that'll be a foul ball into the woods.
Deep into the woods that ball goes.
Not quite to Grandma's house, but definitely into the woods. Maybe over the river.
Maybe over the river. That one was just enough to possibly go over there.
More solid contact into the outfield. That's Emily Oldham bringing it down. That is out number 1.
Solid play by this Knights defense for their pitcher, Crystal Kemp.
And now we'll have number 9, Trinity Thomas, up to bat.
It's one thing that Crystal's not afraid of is letting the defense behind her really work for her.
You're absolutely right. I mean, in a game where it's been difficult to get a strikeout, you kind of have to, you know, and through the first game and during the second game, it's been proven that they can handle themselves. This outfield has, in my opinion, had no blemishes in this doubleheader so far. Maybe a blemish or 2 in the infield, but not in the second game.
So Dawson, mind you, you just pointed out how there hasn't been a strikeout so far, but Mary Baldwin also doesn't have a hit in this second game, so Crystal Kemp has thrown a no-hitter so far.
And Trinity Thomas able to get on first. You know, it's commentator curse, speak and it shall happen.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate.
It's unfortunate this table in front of us is not made of wood, because then you could have knocked on it, but not the case. So Trinity Thomas will be on first. Mary Baldwin starting to get things rolling a little bit here. And up to bat, number 1 pitcher, Molly Thompson. That low pitch makes it a 1-0 count. That one a nice low, it's the outside strike.
Let's see what Kemp can dish up here.
Solid contact.
It's gonna be a close play.
Safe at first by the skin of her teeth is Thompson.
Feel like the coach had a little bit of influence on the umpire there.
Clater was stretched out as far as she could for that grab. Maybe she had lifted up her foot off the bag for a split second. That was just a really close call right there. Now with number 12, Reagan Frazier. Things are starting to look up now for the Fighting Squirrels. There is 1 out, but you have runners on first and second with momentum behind you.
Yeah, we just had a couple of really close plays at first that have really gone in favor of these Fighting Squirrels.
It's absolutely true. That one just the outside corner. Makes it a 1-1 count.
You can definitely feel the the pressure's starting to build up on Crystal as she's just trying to find her groove against Frazier here. Another pitch inside.
I think the umpire thought it was just a tad too high for his liking. Make it a 2-1 count.
He's kind of picky today with what he's liking on the inside and what he's not. But he's been consistent in both of these games so far, and that's all you can really ask for from these guys.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Trying for the double play. Trinity Thomas making her way back home, and she will. Trying to pitch it, I believe it was to Addie Webster.
that's just unfortunate error there by the Knights, costing them a run. Luckily, they built up that 3-run cushion in the second inning, but you're starting to see that slowly chip away with this Fighting Squirrels offense. They still have one out.
It's tough to do that sort of shovel throw to second base because you're so used to a way of releasing the ball and throwing overhanded or underhanded if you're pitching. And so when you do that, the rotation of the ball is different. It hits your glove differently. It's really hard to contain.
Yeah.
Tough play there for Southern Virginia.
Especially with these softballs. The softball is a different size than, baseball, so it just makes it harder. And that spin really does make a difference with the softball.
So now up to bat number 4, Jenna DiMaselli. That pitch just a little high. Pardon me, that's actually number 18, Haley Roberts, up to bat. Right down the middle.
These Fighting Squirrels are really keeping us on our toes with their changing in their lineup so far today. 1 ball and 2 strikes here on Roberts. Let's see what Crystal can deal up for her. Try to work herself out of this.
Out at third and out at first. So really limiting the damage here to just 1 run given up, scored by Trinity Thomas. The score is now 3-1 in favor of Southern Virginia as we go to the bottom of the 5th.
Really see Shumway's value over there at third base for the Knights today. She is just on fire on the defense.
Absolutely she is. I mean, making plays on the third base line, getting it to first, getting some plays to second as well. I mean, like you said, her value has been incredible so far in today's doubleheader, so we'll hope to see that continue for the Knights. And we will have number 17, Madison Lloyd, up to bat for Southern Virginia. This will be her first at-bat today. And we mentioned before, she is taking the place of Ari Primack, who suffered a collision with the fence earlier in this game. She was able to finish out that inning in the outfield, but we haven't seen her since. And like I believe Ben Hughes said, we can expect to not see her the rest of this game. Just a precaution again with stuff like that. You never want to take any chances, never want to be not careful, especially with your players and younger players like Ari Primack, who have been so invaluable to your roster this year. You want to make sure they're healthy for the future. You want to make sure they're just healthy in general.
Absolutely. And that goes in, at least we know for a fact that she is okay, and that it's just to make sure that she, nothing else could happen to her, and if she did sustain some type of injury, that just doesn't get any worse.
Maddie Lloyd.
So Maddie Lloyd stepping up to the plate for these Knights.
This is only her 6th at-bat of the year. She has scored 2 runs off 1 hit. That hit was a double. So she hasn't had a ton of opportunities, but we'll see if she's able to take advantage of this one given to her last game of the year on senior day.
She's a great young player here for these Knights. Umpires are pumping the brakes for a second.
I'm not sure what the discussion is about as of yet.
Maybe
they are cleaning off home plate, but I believe that may be it.
the third base umpire was like, hey, Mr. Home Plate umpire, home plate's a little too dirty.
It's kind of like your parent walking in your room saying, hey, you need to take care of business, clean this up a little bit.
Pick up those socks and actually put them in the dirty clothes hamper.
Nice bunt there from Lloyd.
She's safe.
Second time that has happened to Trinity Thomas, even though she's had a very overall great day at first base, or excuse me, at second, filling in for first.
Yeah,
And now we'll see number 20, DeKel Jones, up to bat. Runner on first.
Let's see what Jones can do. That was right down the middle there.
That's one of those that you like to see DeKel Jones swing at. I mean, I feel like it's one of those you can really put a lot of power into it.
Absolutely. She's been making solid contact with everything so far, and you really just want to see her get a hold of one.
Solid bunt there from Jones.
Looks like she beat that play out.
Another successful bunt from Southern Virginia. Now we'll have J.C. Shumway up to bat with runners on first and second. So now the situation stands. If J.C. Shumway can get on base, you can potentially have a bases loaded situation. And guess who's on deck?
Crystal Kemp,
who already has a home run in this game. Pitch a little low from Thompson.
And that's just a dream scenario for Crystal there, if they can get the bases loaded here.
Absolutely, in a frustrating situation for Molly Thompson, knowing the situation she could potentially end up in. Another high pitch, make it a 2-0 count.
You can definitely feel the nerves for Thompson here as she's struggling with this Knights lineup so far.
You love seeing the changeup that the Knights have had in these past two batters. They both went for bunts. Bunts have been successful in this game.
An absolute hustle out of these base runners for the Knights, just getting down to first base and beating those throws, really making Trinity Thomas work over there, covering first base for that first baseman, charging those bunts.
The last pitch makes it a 3-0 count. That one right down the middle.
As you said, Thomas has been phenomenal at second base, but first base has really been her Achilles heel today. And the Knights are really working to exploit that as this inning has gone on. She showed that a little bit in the second inning, and we're back.
DeKel Jones makes solid contact. It's a foul ball.
It had the distance of going the home run distance, though.
Indeed it did. Just got to straighten it out just a tad.
That was just outside of the foul pole out there in left field, too.
Pardon me, that was Shumway who got a hold of that one. I believe I said DeKel Jones before. It's Shumway. So now it's a full count. That's a close one, but Shumway will go to first. Bases loaded. Again, it's that dream scenario for Crystal Kemp. Senior day, she's already had a home run. Bases loaded. It looks like they'll switch out pitchers for Crystal Kemp. Coming to the circle will be number 12, Reagan Frazier.
Thompson will make that short, long trek over there to the dugout for the Fighting Squirrels, and you have Frazier coming onto the mound. Looks like there's going to be a new first baseman. That's where she came to the mound from.
I think this is a very smart idea from Coach Christy Shelton for Mary Baldwin. I mean, you have your pitcher Thompson struggling a little bit. You've walked a batter. You had two other batters get on base with bunts. And you have someone who's already hit a home run in the game. The best idea is to put in a new pitcher. So that's someone that the batter hasn't seen before, Crystal Kemp hasn't seen. She doesn't know the tendencies. She doesn't know what she likes to do. So it'll make her a little bit more hesitant to swing for the fences. I think that's a great way to handle that situation if you're the Fighting Squirrels.
Yeah, absolutely, Dawson. It's It's really like a coaching 101 type of thing. You know, the momentum's really going against your pitcher that was in here in Molly Thompson, and you just know that you have to make a change with how Crystal Kemp has been playing today. And so you really just want to fight fire with fire in regards to that.
Right, absolutely. Reagan Frazier has 17 strikeouts on the year, has walked 17 batters, has given up 25 runs.
Also, just a highlight here for watching at home. On first base now for the Fighting Squirrels is number 34, Carolyn Whitfield. The anticipated battle here against Kemp from
Just
Thompson.
The outside, but in the strike zone, you can really feel the tension right now, as you can just sense that the Fighting Squirrels know this game hangs on how this at-bat goes.
Yeah. And it's just mostly what these next couple batters can do as well. In the case that Crystal doesn't put the ball in play here.
And it popped up.
Looks like that's going to come down for a base hit for the Knights.
And 1 run scored that time.
And that came right after the coaches let their outfield know that they needed to back up. And just as they backed up, that ball got put right in front of them. That's just a tough adjustment there for the Fighting Squirrels.
It absolutely is. And now the score goes up to 4 runs to 1. And it was Madison Lloyd who scored the 1 run. So base is still loaded.
No outs. This is the dream situation that you want if you are the Knights.
And another change to the batting lineup. This time it'll be number 15, Kraylin Guyman, following up Crystal Kemp. She'll take the place of Addie Webster. Again, Guyman, one of the other powerful hitters on this roster. She's known to hit a home run or two.
Now batting number 15, Kraylin Guyman.
So you have Crystal Kemp on first. You have J.C. Shumway at second.
Looks like that's going to come down for another base hit for the Knights.
And another run scored.
Bases still loaded with no outs.
That was DeKel Jones making her way back home, making a 5-1 game.
Absolutely incredible offensive performance this inning by the Knights.
And I mean, you mentioned, like, when you have bases loaded and you have a powerful hitter, you kind of hope for, you know, the grand slam, that special play. But the next best thing is get base hit after base hit after base hit and get 1 run at a time. Nickel and dime the situation.
Absolutely. Just keep the wheels spinning, Dawson. That's 100% right. It's a tough play. Going 4. She just beats that throw out over at first base.
The Fighting Squirrels prevent another run scored as they get number 24, J.C. Shumway, out at home. But bases still remain loaded.
Number 22.
Now number 22, Katie Clater, up to bat.
Katie Clater has the bases loaded with 1 out. Let's see what she can do.
Into the outfield.
Should
Brought
be
down
enough
by
to
Jenna Dimicelli. So that's the second out. No one was attempting to go home.
It was a safe play there by Crystal Kemp, not going home. It's possible she could have made it.
Now at the plate for the Knights,
But
number 3, Chloe.
But now Chloe Nelson up to bat. I mean, if the Fighting Squirrels can get out of this situation only giving up 2 runs in this inning after having bases loaded 4 batters in a row, that's impressive defense.
100%. And that's just a statement, a tip of the cap to this defense for the Squirrels. And they do just that. And that's just a testament to how strong this Fighting Squirrels defense truly is.
Absolutely true. That was, once again, Leanna Rankin making the play there as we go to the top of the 6th. The Knights leading 5 runs to 1 over the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin. I mean, the way the inning was going, you could have easily had it end up being 8 or 9 to 1, maybe even 10 to 1. You could have had a couple of solid hits with a couple of runs batted in, but instead they only allowed 2 in the bottom of the 5th. Again,
like we have a
can't
little,
express enough how impressive that is.
yeah, it's incredibly impressive, Dawson. And it looks like we have a shakeup on the Knights infield. So, as we mentioned before, when Addison Webster was pinch hit for the shift, now puts Katie Clater over at shortstop, and then number 19, a freshman, Madison Christensen, over at first base for the Knights. Over at third base, you still keep J.C. Shumway. So there's a little bit of a shakeup on the Knights infield.
We'll see how that works out for them. As again, the infield has been very solid in the second game of this doubleheader. We'll see if that solid defensive effort can continue. You know, we mentioned Clater. She's been absolutely stout at first base. The long reach that she has, reach for some of these catches. We'll see what the Knights can do up against batter number 2, Liana Rankin.
Getting her sign, delivering, bunt laid
Low
down.
Bunt. Getting her out at first. I mean, the Knights have really done a good job adjusting to the speed of these hitters for Murray Baldwin. You know, they've done a better job sucking more up for the bunts, getting it out of their hands quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And the smoothness that they're shifting towards and covering for first and charging those bunts has just gotten better as both of these games have gone on.
That first pitch a little high from Kemp.
And that return pitch a little high back from the catcher. Maybe a little unwritten message to bring it down a little bit. You never know.
It's saying, if you're going to make my job a little difficult, I'm going to make your job just as hard.
Exactly.
Another ball there makes it a 2-0 count. Contact here from Gogny. We have foul ball off to the right side.
Gotta watch out for the fence there.
Gogny has had much less of an impact offensively so far in this second game compared to the first, where she was on base every single time, a threat running the bases, scoring runs. The Knights have really done a good job of adjusting to her.
Let's see if that speed plays a factor here, and it does. Clater had a tough time making that exchange and getting that ball over to Whitfield at first.
Again, it's that change of positions that may play a factor in Southern Virginia's defense here in the final innings.
A correction, it was over to Christensen at first, not Whitfield. So Gagny's on at first, and that dangerous speed is over there, so really keep that in mind for the Knights.
This is Allison Crum.
Tough play in the outfield here.
Emily Oldham, again, great communication between Emily Oldham and Chloe Nelson. That's the second time where it's been kind of a toss as to who could go for it, letting each other know, hey, I got it, to avoid any collisions or to avoid any sort of confusion that can result in an error in the outfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And those types of plays are always kind of scary when you have both outfielders running full speed for that ball, trying to call each other off. Great block. Great block by the catcher there.
So now we have 2 outs with number 5, Emily Hall, up to bat. Hall is 0 for so far in the second game. Another high pitch from Kemp.
Another ball by Kemp. It was 3-0.
That one just a little to the outside.
Hall is really making Crystal earn her money on this at-bat.
Four straight balls thrown by Kemp. That
was a tough call by the umpire, but it was just low.
Now number 11, Hadley May, up to bat. And there was at least 2 of those pitches that really could have been a toss-up either way and would have been an understandable call.
Absolutely. And one thing that I just want to make sure that we give a shout out to is just the consistency of umpiring from these umps today. They have made an incredible, that was just an incredible play by Shumway. Like,
Shumway diving to the side, snagging it. The base runner had nowhere else to go. It couldn't go back.
Absolutely. And it was either tag the base runner or make that base tag. And that's just an incredible job by Shumway. Shumway is just playing lights out at the hot corner at third base today.
Absolutely. I mean, you have players like Lloyd, Jones, and Kemp who have scored runs today, but Shumway, the defensive effort from Shumway has really been the story for Southern Virginia. I hope they shout her out in these team meetings over the next couple of days, saying like, hey, what an effort she made, and making sure to do the simple plays that were needed to pull off a potential victory here as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if they don't shout her out in those team meetings, she could just turn on the broadcast and hear the shout outs she's getting from us, because she definitely deserves all the shout outs she's getting for her performance in these 2 games.
And so we'll see number 9, Emily Oldham, up to bat for Southern Virginia.
And again, we want to emphasize Dr. Pepper for Emily Oldham. She's got the pep in her step.
Indeed, absolutely. And also with that, I mean, you know, we can get Dr. Pepper, Straws, Drinks, and Eats.
Straws, Drinks, and Eats.
Proud partners of Southern Virginia Athletics.
The bottom of the inning for the Knights, number 9, Emily Oldham.
See what Emily can do. She did a great job last time at the plate. Just got a little under it last time.
The thing that was really successful with Southern Virginia in that previous inning before Mary Baldwin inserted Reagan Frazier in the circle was bunting. The Knights were really able to take advantage of that with their speed on some of their batters, including Chloe Nelson, as well as, you know, Emily Oldham as well.
Absolutely.
So maybe we'll see them rely on that a little bit more here in the bottom of the 6th. And the scenario goes, for those who maybe aren't aware of how this works, the Knights will have this at bat, and if they can play stout defense at the top of the 7th, then that would be the end of this second game of the doubleheader, as that Knights would not have to respond offensively at bat, given
Also,
the fact that they currently have the lead 5-1.
That last pitch for Oldham pulled a little bench warmers move out of the pocket there and ducked that pitch a little bit.
That'll be a foul ball, keeping it a 1-2 count.
Really love to see the Ritchie method come into play there.
I think so far this season we've had Sandlaw references, Ferris Bueller references, and now we have that.
The bench warmers reference.
Bench warmers, exactly.
Oldham gets a hold of the ball pretty well, but it's just put out by Jenna Donicelli.
So great work by Demicelli for out number 1. So now we'll be back at the top of the batting lineup with number 17, Maddie Lloyd, sophomore from Richfield, Utah.
Let's see what Lloyd can do here. She's 1 for 1 today.
Indeed, her first at bat, able to get a hit and then able to score a run as well to add to the lead.
She was part of that Knights effort, getting those bases loaded.
On multiple occasions, for those who missed the previous inning, the Knights had, I believe, 3 or 4 batters in a row with bases loaded. Unfortunately for them, only came away with 2 runs scored, as Mary Baldwin really handled that situation about as best as you can imagine. swing and a miss there for Lloyd.
Absolutely stunner of a pitch from Frazier. Just got to keep your head down a little bit more if you're Lloyd.
It's just like golf, right? Got to keep your head down, and you'll make contact. And a strikeout there for Frazier. She gets her first of the day.
It's a great series of pitches there by Frazier.
Now we'll have DeKel Jones.
DeKel Jones is no stranger to working pitchers in this series.
Indeed, with the first two pitchers for the Fighting Squirrels, she's made each of them really work for a strikeout, making them pitch at least 7 or 8 pitches against her.
Strike called on the outside of the plate there for Frazier.
Frazier's really doing a great job finding the outside or the edges of the strike zone that the umpires like today.
Absolutely, really pushing the boundary and really changing speeds, really making these Knights hitters work and guess what the next pitch is going to be. She's really, really making it hard to get a good timing down.
That one just low to the outside, making it a 2-1 count. Contact there, popped up. Trinity Thomas able to bring it down for out number 3. 3 quick outs there for the Fighting Squirrels as we go to the top of the 7th. And the Fighting Squirrels' final chance to chip away at this lead that Southern Virginia currently possesses.
Yeah, the Squirrels definitely face an uphill battle here, but they have shown that they can get a couple runs very quickly.
Indeed they can, and during this short break, I want to once again remind you, you're watching this on Night Broadcasting here on YouTube, so be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, send a congratulatory message to our seniors in the comment section, and be sure to click that notification bell that way you get notified of any future broadcasts of Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for your support of Night Broadcasting today during this doubleheader. On behalf of Ben and I, we really appreciate tuning in and having a good day of softball with us. It's been beautiful weather. I hope it's been beautiful conditions in your living room, sitting down on your couch, enjoying a nice day of softball on this Saturday. We appreciate you spending it with us here on Night Broadcasting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful day out here for us. Just wish the sun was a little cooler.
We'll come away from this a little crisp, but you know what? That's just fine.
It's just the nature of the game for us out here.
Exactly. And now it's about to be number 9, Trinity Thomas, freshman from Waynesboro, Virginia. She's done a lot of great work at second base.
And Trinity Thomas played at that really good school in Waynesboro, Wilson Memorial. They have a good softball program there.
Absolutely, they do. And Thomas so far has 1 hit, has scored the lone run for Mary Baldwin. Making contact, getting it to roll into the outfield. A single for Thomas.
Straight up the middle. Way to put bat on the ball for Thomas. There's just nothing you can do if you're the Knights infielders there. That is just right through the gap.
So now we'll have number 34, Caroline Whitfield, freshman from Richmond, Virginia. We have foul ball.
That time, the fence stopped it from being gobbled up by the woods.
It was one of the first ones today to do that on a foul ball like that.
Absolutely.
Makes the count 0-1.
If you're the Knights here, you definitely dream of a double play scenario. You really want to force her to put the ball on the ground.
They would have to be very quick because Trinity Thomas has shown that she has quite the speed to her.
See what Crystal has dealt up for her. Straight on the ground. It's a tough double play to turn. As you were saying, Thomas is just too fast to get that ball there. She just showed that flash of speed again.
Indeed she did, but they do get the out at first. And that is a good start for them defensively, getting the first out of the 7th inning.
Absolutely. Got 2 more outs to go if you're the Knights.
Again, trying to close out this victory and, again, send your seniors out on a high note as that's a foul ball, but also get it to 20 wins on the season. I mentioned before in the first game how Southern Virginia last season had only won a total of 3 games, and to go from that, 3 wins, to this year, 20 wins. That's a difference of 17 victories. That's a turnaround very hard to replicate anywhere. I mean, that's about as good of a turnaround as you can expect.
Absolutely, and it's just a phenomenal job again by Coach Tiffany Pendleton. Really just shows how she knows her team and just the great level of recruiting that they've done to really help turn this program around.
And I keep referring to, before the season started, how I'd have conversations with assistant coach Colby Kemp as that pitch is very high and Trinity Thomas will make her way to third. But I had these conversations with assistant coach Colby, how he was talking about how they were very, very excited about their roster for this season and how they felt like they had more depth than they've had in a long time. They felt like they had more, you know, trust within each other, a better culture than they've had in a long time. And so it's amazing to see how the things that they were anticipating having were very prevalent throughout the season. Because a lot of times, you know, you hear coaches say, oh, we were very excited about the season, you know, things go very well, and things don't go as well as you'd hoped. And it sounds like it was just kind of words, but they truly meant it when they said it.
And one thing that you said in there, Dawson, that just want to drill home is just culture. Is everything is built on a strong culture, and if you can change that culture and really, really form an identity of your team out of that culture, that's just the beginning foundation of a beautiful thing that you can build going forward, especially if you're the Knights in this softball program.
A full count. Crystal Kemp is a wild pitch, and that allows Trinity Thomas to score a run there. Make it 5 runs to 2. There's been 2 wild pitches like that from Crystal Kemp.
Ball's just slipping out of her hands there. That's very uncharacteristic of Kemp and how she pitches.
So now we'll see number 12, Reagan Frazier, up to bat. With a runner on first and the lead whittled down to 3. Pitch right down the middle. Great response from Kemp.
If you're Kemp here, you really just want to put your shoulder down and just push through these last couple batters and get these last 2 outs to finish the game.
That pitch just a little high, make it a 1-1 count. Another outside pitch from Kemp trying to get, excuse me, this is now number 4, Jenna Demicelli, excuse me, to try to get her to reach for that one.
It's 2 balls and 1 strike. If you're Kemp, you really want to go after her on this next pitch.
That one just outside. You can see the frustration mounting for Crystal Kemp. And there's also pressure too. I mean, this is the last time you'll be pitching on your home field in a Southern Virginia uniform. I'm sure it's very hard to handle a lot of those nerves. That one hits the outfield.
It's a rare ball to get by Shumway over there at third. That one was just sent on a beeline through the infield.
Indeed, it was. Now we'll have number 2, Leanna Rankin, up to bat with runners on first and second.
This is dangerous top of the order for the Fighting Squirrels.
Crystal Kemp will exit the game, and we'll have number 21, Chloe Persinger, enter the circle.
It's tough for Crystal, just being 2 outs away from finishing this game.
Right. You know, the senior, again, like you said, you really want to finish out the game. you want to be on the field when the last out happens.
Absolutely. You can only imagine how she feels just getting pulled out, but you also have to understand too, if you're her, just from the situation that's risen so far from these last few batters, the passed balls and then just 2 base runners on. You just want to be as careful as you can be, especially with that batter at the plate being your tying run.
But also, you know, I really think it shows Crystal Kemp's trust in Persinger. Hang over the ball, just let him know, hey, good luck, make sure to close this out. Again, it's just the trust this team has had in each other all year round, you know, and especially in the pitching roster. They all know they're all very capable of closing out games, very capable of taking over and making it their game, and we'll see if Persinger can do just that.
Absolutely.
And during the short break, I want to give one more shout out to Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. It's a great Saturday with great weather, so you may be inclined to go hiking up here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Plenty of hiking trails around. And you know what that does? That builds up a quench for soda or any kind of great drink that you're thinking of, any drink that you want. Go to Straws Drinks and Eats and check that out today. Thank you, Straws, for your sponsorship and partnership with Southern Virginia Athletics.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you.
And they always have great activities on Friday nights for families to go and visit and do things with, like bingo and trivia. So,
and they even have live music on occasions as well.
Yeah, go check them out. It's definitely worth the trip down there. Now just stepping back up to the plate is Rankin.
And Rankin has been walked once so far.
It's definitely a scenario the Knights want to avoid this time around against her.
Especially have Gogny up on deck. Right down the middle for Persinger. Makes it a 1-1 count. Wild pitch there from Persinger.
Another wild pitch.
Makes you wonder if there's something like on the ball, or maybe they need a new ball or something. You never know if it's 2 pitchers in a row that are struggling with that.
Absolutely, you gotta wonder. But you also have to make sure that if you're the Knights, you really, really want to reel that in. As this game hangs in the balance, the pressure is building. She misses with another ball.
That one was very, very close.
So 3 balls and 1 strike on Rankin. Persinger's coming in, and that's another ball and walks Rankin to load the bases.
Loaded. My goodness, this is not the scenario that you want if you're Southern Virginia. And now with number 35, Olivia Gogny. Gogny has, we've talked about her being sort of the Achilles heel of Southern Virginia in the first game. Not as productive in the second, but she's one of those where any given moment she can go off and do something amazing for Mary Baldwin.
Absolutely, Dawson. And this is definitely the scenario you wanted to avoid if you were Southern Virginia.
Line drive foul ball right into the woods. Now, the thing about this is that, let's say Southern Virginia gives up 3 runs here, which is very possible with still 2 outs to go. You still have the bottom of the 7th to respond, and you've been batting well over the past couple of innings. So if they let it be tied up, all hope is not lost. Or even if they lost the lead somehow, all hope is not lost. But like you said, Ben, it's not a situation you want to be in the slightest. You want to close things out right here, right now, end the game for your seniors, and then pack it up and go home.
Absolutely. And it's tough right now to see these Southern Virginia pitchers struggle with control on the ball when they've been in control almost the entire game.
That's popped up from Gogny.
This ball is deep enough to absolutely score 1 run and advance the other.
Indeed, that is 1 run scored, bring it back within 2, but now 2 outs, which takes a lot of pressure off. But Allison Crum up to bat, another player who's really been fantastic for Mary Baldwin, especially in that first game. You have runners on first and third, but you just have to get the one out.
Yeah, runners on the corners is definitely not ideal, but it's a little bit more ideal than having the bases loaded.
Another foul ball here, this time from Crum.
Yeah, these batters now are definitely just not afraid to just let loose on the ball. They know that this is their last gasp of air for this game. They absolutely have nothing to lose, and they are swinging for the fences like they have nothing to lose. Got to be mindful of that if you're Persinger here on the mound or in the circle.
That one dropped a little too low, and we'll see Rankin making her way to second. So runners now on second and third. So a solid hit could potentially tie things back up at 5. Foul ball makes it a 1-2 count.
Looks like that might have been off her foot or just right next to it. And those balls off the foot definitely don't feel good.
They definitely do not. Leave you limping a little bit in the morning. Here's the out at first, and the Knights close out the victory in the second game of this doubleheader on Senior Day to advance to 20 wins on the season. Again, I'll reiterate for the third time because it's so important. This team was a 3-win team a year ago. To come back and have a 20-win season and close it out for your seniors on Senior Day in your last home game, I mean, that's as good of a turnaround as you can ask for.
Absolutely, Dawson. And then, like we've been talking about the whole game, this Knights team has just been so resilient in this doubleheader, and they've just shown that they aren't afraid to just grind out this win, and they did just that.
Indeed they did, winning it by the final score of 5-3, as again the Knights finish out the season with a 20-18 record, and the Fighting Squirrels won the regular season with an 18-15-1 record. Once again, want to shout out the seniors of Southern Virginia University. You know, you had all these players like Crystal Kemp, who put in a lot of pitches in this second game. You had Barrett Jessup, Chloe Cochran, Kraylin Guyman. You had Sydney Mattis, Addison Webster, Emily Oldham, and I already mentioned Crystal Kemp. Again, shout out to them. A fantastic career here at Southern Virginia University. You know, Ben, you and I talked at the beginning of the broadcast how incredible of a short journey it is to be a student athlete in college athletics, how quickly it goes by and how much of a thrill it is. And once again, to be honored here on Senior Day is absolutely a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. There's just no better feeling, and then there's no better feeling than sending those seniors out with the win. And you can see right here in the outfield just the love that all of these players have for all their seniors and all their teammates, and it's just incredible.
It absolutely is. We want to once again thank you all viewers for tuning in with us today. I'm Dawson Wiedrich alongside my good friend Ben Kabczynski. It's been a pleasure bringing you this softball season for Southern Virginia University here on Night Broadcasting. We appreciate all of your support, all of your comments, and all those parents of players and allow us to do what we do. I want to give a shout out to our producers, camera crew, and all those that make this presentation possible. And for the last time for softball, good night, God bless, and go Knights.